Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Corby here, telling you that this is the second part of this special because we like to go on far longer than we ever should. So if you're watching this before you've watched part one of this special, please, I'd argue, go back and watch part one. Although the only thing you're going to miss is some jokes we make about wet nurses. Don't ask questions, go watch the part. Anyway, on to whatever the hell John has brought.
Well, that segues nicely into whoever's next, I'm sure.
Me?
Conspiracy theory time, we've been promised.
It's
Do-do-do-do-do.
back, and weirdly, there was a slight touch on it by Matt earlier.
What? The nurse?
Oh.
Alan's?
No.
The curse of the nurse!
You
It's
see,
happening.
what I'm talking about is probably one of the big conspiracy theories in the world at the moment. Sadly, not flat Earth. All right.
Follow
But
up?
5G, yeah.
part of that will come into it. What I'm
Is
talking
it that
about...
Finland doesn't exist?
No, although part of that will come into that. No, what we're talking about is the lizard people conspiracy.
Yes!
Yeah? Yeah?
The ones I have had and will.
And we'll continue.
What lizard men have you had? Okay. No.
No comment. Listeners who have heard earlier episodes will know.
I don't for some reason. Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyway,
I know what you're talking about, Matt.
yeah, it's a fairly short topic because there's not actually most of it is centered around one guy in particular, which will be pretty much the entire second half of the episode of this chat. But I'm going to go and see where it probably kicked off in the modern conscious.
We're
Essentially,
going to talk about the royal family.
briefly.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw Prince Harry basking on a rock in the sun.
That's why I was in Afghanistan.
Reptilian behaviour.
Explain why he's so pale, then. No. Anyway. No. So there have been elements of reptilian humanoids and and reptiles with human intelligence throughout mythology for pretty much as long as there's been humans around. I mean, there's obviously stuff like there's the serpent which got Eve to eat the apple. You've got like Sobek, the crocodile god of Egypt, and you've got stuff like Nagas, which are like the half human, half serpent creatures in Southeast Asian mythology. But when it comes to actual modern conscious of reptilian humanoids, they're taking over. A lot of it kind of stems from the initial start of that is 1929, where a guy called I'll get this back in a guy called Robert E. Howard, I believe. Robert E. Howard. He was one of the three people who, including H.P. Lovecraft and I think August Derlin, who set up basically the Cthulhu mythos. So he contributed quite a bit to that. But he wrote a story called the Shadow Kingdom in 1929, which basically brought in the idea of serpent men who pretend to be humans and secretly manipulate societies and stuff like that.
I was going to say, wasn't that when Italy left the HRE?
I was going to say, it wasn't that when Italy was defeated in World War II.
But no, but that was popularized in a pulp magazine called Weird Tales, and so yeah, literally ancient shape-shifting reptilian humanoids with elaborate underground abodes, who work in the shadows to rule humanity, and just infiltrating groups and kicking up shit, basically. That I just stopped saying basically.
Have you found your tell?
Yeah, maybe. What about when I'm lying?
No, I
I'm making all this shit up. No. Let's throw off the tail of the fact I'm lizard. No, it's hard tell. No, it's so yeah, there was, and serpent men got worked into the Cthulhu mythos, and they're still quite popular today.
I don't know if they became the fish people that we know of in Cthulhu.
Oh no,
mythos,
there's a completely separate thing called serpent men in that.
Huh.
You guys haven't seen them yet in game, but they are there. No, they're just ancient, semi-immortal serpent people. That's it. That's
Did you
what
say
you need.
semi-immortal or semi-mortal?
Semi-immortal.
Right, because semi-mortal sounds like...
I might die. I don't
To be fair, they mean the same thing.
Yeah, they kind of do.
Anyway, but yeah, this this guy kicked off lizard people in fiction. People thought, oh, we can do stuff with this. This is great. But then it gets onto this Egypt called G. Warren Shufelt, who in 1934 or 1935 he was looking for gold in California.
As was the style at the time.
Yeah, and
It was in vogue.
What
you see.
year was this, John?
this occurred between 1934 and 1935. That kind of crossed those years. So about 5-6 years after Serpent Men and stuff were being popularized. Yeah. And he claimed he was looking for gold in California, and to basically help him along with this, he invented a device that he claimed used radio X-rays to see deep to see underground, and apparently he could find gold and precious metals and stuff with it.
Sounds legit.
It didn't use any of this. It was basically a dowsing pendulum.
Crystal on the end of a chain.
Yes.
Got with Newton's cradle. It'll take us to gold.
That was bad. Here it goes. Consists chiefly of a cylindrical glass case inside which a plummet attached to a copper wire held by the engineer sways continually, pointing, he asserts, towards minerals or tunnels below the surface of the ground. There revolves when over the mineral, swings in prolongation of the tunnel when above the excavation. Space to shake it about and then dig.
Fucking hell.
But apparently, Shufelt found a series of tunnels underneath Los Angeles. A lost city of catacombs.
Sewer network.
Yeah, filled with incalculable treasure, which I don't have for some reason. And records
It was so incalculable, I couldn't even carry it.
Yeah, and,
this is the start to Bloodborne. It's just instead of Yarnum, it's Los Angeles.
Is it so? Is it so different? But he basically said, "Oh, these are the remnants of a race of humans that are so further advanced than us and so much better. They are more scientific than we are. How can you believe it? We're so great."
They've ascended to the Nightmare Realm.
Yeah.
They can do the Nightmare Realm. They can create networks of tunnels.
This is a very weird quote on his discovery from Shefelt. I knew I was over a pattern of tunnels and mapped over the course of the tunnels, the position of large rooms scattered along the tunnel route, as well as the positions of deposits of gold. But I couldn't understand the meaning of it. Okay. You seem to have...
Is there much meaning behind a tunnel full of gold?
Mapped it all out, but apparently I can't understand it.
What? No, what?
No, it's... No.
I made
this is where the
I made this map. I can't read a map.
I've made this map and mapped it out perfectly. I don't understand why it's here, or what I'm doing with it, but I've done it. No.
How do I cartography?
Right. Apparently, he made a breakthrough, and this is where we get into the lizard people thing. No, I really wish he'd actually gone to a fucking tunnel at some point. Anyway. No, he talks to. Apparently, he talked to a Hopi Native American who went by the name Little Chief Greenleaf, or also known as L. Macklin. So I don't think this is a Hopi Native American, but okay. Just he claims that he told him that bloody 5,000 years ago, Hopi history spoke of lizard people who built vast underground cities in the area and recorded their own history on big gold tablets. And
where did he chat to this man?
He doesn't say. I think he's probably just found him in Los Angeles, if I'm guessing right.
Oh,
guy.
That's the worst place to find people.
Listen, I got some credible witnesses.
You've got to have belief of my.
That's it.
I've got to say, there is absolutely categorically no evidence that this person even existed. Even though they can't ask or anything, there's no evidence that they even were there. It's just...
There's evidence for the lizard men, but not...
Yeah, apparently Shufelt put two and two together, and he thought he'd found one of these cities, and could prove it because within the chambers he found, to quote, gold tablets with perfect corners, sides, and ends. Scientific proof of the gold's existence. Great. But it's... Yeah, and he basically he claimed that finding gold is scientific proof of finding gold.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Well,
he's
not wrong.
He's not wrong.
That's like in university level maths where they ask you to prove that 1 + 1 = 2. You're like, fucking duh.
But yeah, it's this story was being put in newspapers across the country, and obviously got a lot of money from investors who basically put in money to exchange for. Yeah, he also got city support as well for the project in exchange for 50% of the gold found.
Basically, find the gold and we'll give you the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is he basically went for a massive dig and started digging 300
Just say
foot.
that again because it
Went
sounds
for a
like
massive dig.
good.
He is a massive dick, but we'll get into that. Anyway, no.
Went for a massive dig.
But he, yeah, and he dug a, he dug a gigantic hole about probably 350 feet deep.
Fucking hell, that's deep.
But then it rained, and what it turned out Shufelt had made was a well. So after that point, he kind of gave it up and didn't find any.
Did not find anything in the 350 feet hole.
No, he found a lot of dirt.
And later on, he found some rainwater.
Look, water. The ancients use water. That's all I could think of.
Okay, so I've got a dirt. I've got a
Yep.
wet dirt. That was regular dirt, but then it rained and it all became wet dirt.
He had to be very careful because eventually it turned.
Slightly different shade of dirt.
The dirt has turned into water. Alchemy.
It eventually turned into what could be described as a swamp, and then a nurse started climbing out.
I found gold and a nurse, but mainly gold. No, the thing we don't actually know what happened to him really much about what happened to him after this. He doesn't appear to have used his radio X-ray device on anything else. All we know is that he died in 1957. I assume he fucked off very quickly because investors found out he just basically made a well. So I assume he got out of Dodge.
I assume he drowned in another self-made well.
Yeah.
All the lizard men got him.
I will also say that this Hopi legend about 5,000 years, vast seas of underground lizard people.
Did they hear about El Dorado and just went from there?
Maybe, but there is there is kind of a Hopi kind of.
Well, you say evidence.
No, there is no. There's not evidence, but okay. But
They're real, Matt. They're real.
As is El Monado.
First thing, no tunnels were ever found or have ever been found under Los Angeles excluding sewers. And
Do they have a subway
but the,
network?
Even
Do they have a subway network?
It's an actual network of subway restaurants, not the subway trains.
it's
That's the secret, Matt.
also-
All the subways are run by lizard men.
even
Haven't had a subway in so long.
That's all the lizard men have
even
died out.
Shufelt, the grifter who did the grifting so hard at this, he even noted down that at the time these are humans who simply used the lizard as a symbol of the vast underground cities, and there's no known Hopi legend about actual literal lizard people, reptilians. That basically it was common for the Hopi to have various to have clans amongst them who use animal names such as the Bear Clan, the Spider Clan, and there was actually a Lizard Clan, so it's probably just that.
Like this entire time, whenever you say reptilian, the song Reptilia starts playing in my head.
But yeah, so there's absolutely no in any birth death record any record of Chief Greenleaf or Al Macklin.
You've spoken to my friend Chief Greenleaf. He's wrapped up in this little thing, and when you smoke it, oh boy, is it a doobie!
But to be honest, Chief Little Greenleaf does sound like little Chief Greenleaf does sound like something made up by a white guy.
It just sounds like shit.
Yeah,
from
it
marijuana.
does.
Yeah, it does.
You want a puff of Chief Greenleaf?
But anyway,
Dude.
apart from that, also there was a person who wrote. What the hell was it in this source book? There was also someone who basically in between years of this 934, 935, and 929, this person got a mystic correspondence school founder called Maurice Doreal, just interesting name. But he wrote a lot of works for his followers, including this thing called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean.
Thoth?
Which was,
that is a mouthful. Fucking hell.
Thoth.
yeah, but he basically.
Be gone, Thoth.
He was a bit of an arsehole because he basically was using these science fiction characters he was trying to basically create an actual like saying, "Hey, no, this has actually happened. This is a factual account of Earth, and these are reptoids are actually here."
Reptoids cometh.
Yeah. You see, that wouldn't be too bad because most people didn't care about that until we get to later years and a particular main man I'm going to talk about in a minute.
Abraham Lincoln.
What? Oh yes, and there was in 1976 there was a person called Zechariah Sitchin, who was he was born in Baku in the Soviet Union. He wrote this thing called the 12th Planet, which basically says basically.
For viewers, just sort of viewers aware, every time John says basically, he's slapping himself.
Yeah.
Not John. Stupid John. He's like Dobby. He's gonna start beating his head against his desk.
Bad podcast host. Bad. No.
Is this the thing where they've got that planet orbiting us on the other side of the sun in perfect alignment?
It's Nibiru, that planet in the elliptical alignment bullshit.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's the accorded planet that goes in an elliptical orbit and occasionally just comes back. People call it Planet X too. It's the thing that's it's one of the links with the conspiracy that eventually it's going to hit not the UK, or technically
It's going to hit the UK specifically.
it's going to hit the Earth and destroy it.
Receiving signals from the Euclid alien.
Yeah, no, exactly. But
he was scouting it out. That's what he was doing.
He's an author on ancient astronauts and stuff like this, so he's gone really down that deep end of
80-year-old astronauts. Gotcha.
I was in the face of Mars and I'm 90. No, anyway, but
in space I can walk like a 40-year-old man.
In space I only feel like I'm 70. God, I hate myself. Anyway,
The G-force, my bones. Oh God.
No. Not my burns. No,
He's got me burns.
Oh, no, space, give me my bones back.
Zechariah Sitchin, he basically
John, you're allowed to say it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. What he did was he believed in the ancient astronauts theory that certain people came to the planet and kind of helped evolve us to a certain extent. And it's I know I always feel like it's a bit nonsense because it feels like anytime they talk about this kind of stuff, it's like they can't believe that humans can actually do anything without outside help. I mean, it's fair enough in certain cases, but still.
If you look at us now,
we are completely.
If you look at 95% of humanity, then
like there's a 5% that are all right at going grocery shopping, but that's about it.
But he linked all this back to Mesopotamian tablets and he basically said the Anunnaki, the some of the like deities in Sumerian, Babylonian, Assyrian mythology. They were actually aliens who'd come down and had started basically a mining operation, like a colonial mining operation, to get our quote.
They were doing it before it was cool.
Yeah, to get a hold of our quote monoatomic gold.
What the fuck's
I don't know. I keep hearing this crop up, and they keep saying, "Oh no, Earth's got special gold. It's monoatomic gold."
If they'd used monoatomic gold in Chernobyl, nothing bad would have happened.
And according to him, there was the Anunnaki base he got tired of being forced to mine here, and there was a weird, like, almost rebellion going on. And they said, "Okay, we'll just evolve some of the local apes to do it instead."
Is he trying to argue that the Nordic aliens came down and did colonial shit?
Kinda, yeah. He doesn't say much about what they actually looked like. He doesn't explicitly say anything reptilian about them. Someone else hardtails it on and sticks in the end of an argument later on, and it gets co-opted later on. He just said they were very tall and so about like 9 foot tall. That's about it. Just really big,
like a lizard.
Yes, yes. Now being tall.
Actually, yes. Give me a minute, but no. But yeah, the monoatomic gold, which can be used for traveling through dimensions. Great.
Wait a fucking minute.
What?
Did you just casually gloss over the fact that they use this to travel through dimensions, or have I just not been paying attention?
No, it was very casual.
No, we were casually glossing over it.
Yeah. Keep with the future, old man, or you'll be left behind by it.
Yeah, honestly, like, I'm not that big a fan of the other dimensions. I quite like existing in 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but...
No, wait, that might be vectors, not dimensions. Never mind.
He also said that the Anunnaki were the same as the Nephilim, the like half-angel giants in the Bible, all this kind of stuff. I'm not sure what he's got anywhere to say this.
The biblically accurate ones.
Yeah,
from episode 1.
Oh God, yeah.
I will say one thing, that all of the things that Zechariah Sitchin is saying he's getting off Mesopotamian tablets is translations that he's doing very badly. And people have come back and said, this doesn't say that. It doesn't mention anything about rockets. That's not a... And people have said, well, okay, he says that the Sumerians knew about 12 planets. Every other source we got from them, because they loved astronomy, every other source we got from them says they knew about 5. And so...
I'm surprised he didn't just
There's some false extrapolation or embellishment going on.
I'm surprised he didn't just take the hieroglyphics and just claim there were rockets in them.
Well, the Anunnaki apparently ended up leaving the planet because of a gigantic flood, which ties in the Bible nonsense again. And then when they came back, they helped advance us and helped us build pyramids and stuff like that. So yeah, all links into that bullshit again. And apparently, according to him, they only left in 550 BC, which is really recent in history. But
it's before recorded Greek and Roman history, so it's perfectly aligned.
Yeah, but you think the Greeks would mention something about that? The lizard people left a couple hundred years ago. What are you going to do?
Homer just thought it wasn't relevant. They didn't notice it during the war.
It's not relevant.
1200 BC.
That's all their dicks. I'm going to leave.
Listen, we don't have time to worry about those. We've got to work on this salad that we're making.
It's made of real Caesar.
I'm thinking feta. We put that in it.
But yes. Other than that, there is we get all past that nonsense until we get to the most important person in the Lizard Man conspiracy, the one who has launched it to new heights. Former English footballer David Icke.
Oh. Wow. You're kidding.
No.
David Icke.
Do you know him, Matt?
By the sounds of it, personally.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I can't. Him.
He played for 2 years for Hereford United.
Alien Reptilian Legacy.
He was a goalkeeper.
I mean,
sounds like he's been keeping some pretty lofty goals.
Personally, this sounds like on the same level as Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 founding To the Stars Academy to look for alien life forms. So,
no, he is.
I love the fact that his wife left him in 2011, and I can only assume that's when he went off the rails.
What for?
That's why.
Oh no, he went off the rails categorically 1991. And I will get onto that.
Wait, so she married him for 10 years?
Yes.
Oh my god.
20?
Yeah.
20
fact,
if it was 91.
A certain part of that,
Well,
she
no, she
renamed herself to...
Oh.
She renamed herself to Michaela for a while as an aspect of the Archangel Michael. So she was fairly into it for a while and then just went, no, he's gone too far. Or he was too much of an arsehole, which to be fair, I can get that too.
Some point in 2011, she just sits there and thinks to herself, wait a minute.
Aliens.
Maybe this isn't an elaborate joke.
Wait a minute. This is bullshit.
Just like 2 in the morning, she sits bolt upright in bed and just looks at him. It's like,
you lied to me.
Oh no, David Icke does not pretend he's a reptilian. He pretends he's something else entirely. So we'll.
A tall white.
No, I'll get right into that in a minute.
Pond life? Or is that giving him too much credit?
Did you say pond life?
Anyway,
He pretends he's algae.
Look, David Icke was David Icke was
he's still alive.
but I'm just saying he was born in 1956.
He's dead to us.
He's 68 at the moment, but he was born just kind of a yeah, he was born kind of not the best situation because it was post-war Labour government kind of thing. He didn't really do much at school. He got chosen for the football team. Did all that nonsense. And basically came to see football as a way out of poverty. And he did everything bad when it comes to education because he left school at 15 because he got talent spotted by Coventry City because they got for his youth. For his 1967 as their youth team's goalkeeper. And then he did play for Oxford United's reserve team, and Northampton Town, but no, but then he.
God love being in League 3.
As I said, he ended up being the goalkeeper for Hereford United for 2 years.
Oh, he advanced. He advanced to League 2.
He did that for 2 years until I will say I do feel a little bad for him at this because at age 21, rheumatoid arthritis basically set in his knees, and that spread to basically all his joints. Which
how bad was his body to begin with?
I don't know. If at 21, rheumatoid arthritis.
Up and down with his knees. Was
Matt,
in the goal every time. It's like we can't score.
I'm gonna say, Matt. To be fair, we arguably know someone who has early onset arthritis, and he's the same age as us. So.
Oh shit! Yeah.
He's got early onset arthritis in his knees.
I forgot about that. He's got no the stuff that stops the pain.
Cut that.
Cartilage. That's it.
Anyway, but yeah, so he had to retire from football at that age,
At the age of
and and he then got a job as being a reporter, and then moved into radio and became a football reporter because everyone's like, well, he can't play football, at least he can talk about it, which is what every other footballer has done since the start of time.
Yeah,
I don't know. Some of them go on to be managers. So
that's true. Yeah, but
he hasn't got the knee strength to be standing around on the pitch and enthusiastic.
yeah, he does have the knee strength to like jump up and celebrate when his team scores. So
yeah,
I would feel sympathy, but at the same time, this man thinks lizard people are real. So
I've got it. His knees hurt so much because he had to carry the team when he was goalkeeper.
You did this to me.
then, if that's the case, then he needs to learn to fucking carry properly.
No, but it's pretty much nowadays. It's in literally all of his joints. He is fucked.
It doesn't talk about his hernias from lifting poorly.
No, but he's
been carrying the weight of his knowledge about the lizard people, and for listeners' knowledge is in inverted.
Heavy knowledge of reptilian.
If it seems like I'm trying to hurry you through this segment, it's only because I know that literally a bit later on, every sentence I say will be riffed on. I know that it's gonna be bad.
That and the fact that we've been recording for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
We've a lot of that has been skipped out of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He ends up applying to Midlands Today and the BBC for the BBC in Birmingham, and so he got on air appearances, and eventually he became a sports presenter for Newsnight in 1981, and he has kind of started launching his fame because he was a goalkeeper. He wasn't the most famous person in the world for quite a while, and then he was on the first ever edition of BBC's Breakfast Time.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and he presented the which had launched I think in 83, and he was the sports news presenter for there till 85.
Yeah,
and he started doing the sports program Grandstand as well, which is the BBC's national sports program. It's quite big, and then that was his first book, which is probably the only book that is any way readable, which is called "It's a Tough Game, Son," advising people on how to get into football.
Here's how not to use your knee.
Well, the only thing you've got to do is not immediately get arthritis. Sorry.
Has life fucked you over? Then I'm sorry, you can't play football.
He started just doing reporting on bowls and snooker programs and the 1988 Summer Olympics, so he was weirdly intertwined with shit.
I assume you mean bowls as in bowls the game.
Bowls,
he wasn't talking about bowls.
No.
I love the ceramics.
Bowls, the bastard.
Rockery.
That ceramic nutter. No, anyway.
Rockery you have, dear.
But
Be a shame if something were to happen to it.
At this point in his career, David Icke was a household name. People knew him. He was on the TV most time.
He's examining their bowls, recommending the best type for family get-togethers and the best one to hold porridge.
He says that he didn't like television careers because he thought people were quite shallow and somewhat vicious. I'm not so sure about that. I think it's what happened next. So
I mean, I could imagine a lot of people in TV being shallow and vicious.
well, yes, I know, but I'm not so sure that he wouldn't have sticked around. Is what I'm trying to say. He in 1990, his contract with the BBC was eventually terminated because basically Margaret Thatcher's government had introduced the poll tax, the community charge, which everyone in the country had to pay, and he announced that he would rather go to prison than pay it, and the BBC just went, right, we're supposed to be impartial, and he's here saying fuck the government. We're kind of got to get rid of him. So he eventually just cancelled his contract, and it was kind of stupid anyway because he ended up paying it anyway. So
I mean, the BBC are just a bunch of bastards. Let's be real.
They're not impartial.
I know, but yeah, and this is when...
That's why none of us pay our TV licenses.
Exactly. I don't own a TV.
Exactly.
So in the 90s that's when he got kicked out of the BBC, but throughout the 80s he'd been flirting with alternative medicine, stuff like that, to try and sort out his arthritis.
Homeopathy,
which is where...
Was he spinning crystals on his knees?
Fucking wish. No, but he...
Matt, Gwyneth Paltrow had not yet rose to the superpower that she was.
No, you...
don't advocate anything Gwyneth Paltrow does. She is a mad woman. Ignore her false medical cures. Do not watch Goop unless you want to watch something hilarious.
And I guess don't buy her vagina candles because she made those.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he, New Age philosophy, alternative medicine, started getting into all that, and this is where the fucking ball starts
Corby
rolling.
looks so confused.
That one was new to me. I'd not heard that one, and I wish I hadn't.
Sorry. Anyway.
How did she get the mold? And I don't mean the yeast.
That's from the candles,
Continue,
man.
John. Save us, quick.
No, I'm going to sit and wait this out. Yeah, I'm like the substitute teacher used to time. I'm just going to wait out until you stop talking, and then just go, right, now then, the hypotenuse, and no, I'm not going to anyway. No, it's because he started getting into that alternative medicine and New Age philosophies and all that kind of stuff. Eventually, this led him to come into contact with the Green Party, and he's joined it. And within 6 months of joining the Green Party, he was made one of its 4 principal speakers. Because I'm not sure if they do anymore, but 4 principal speakers at the time, they didn't have a leader; they just had 4 people basically in charge.
Confused and think he was here to talk about the color green.
No,
did he mistakenly think the Green Party was
lizard men?
An allusion to the fact that they're secretly lizard men?
Green Party is in green skinned.
Yeah.
But he really got onto the whole environment thing, and his second book he ever wrote was a book called "It Doesn't Have to Be Like This," which is really just a hurtful title for me.
The irony is strong in that one.
It might well be "Why Is Life Pain?"
I know. It's like you start to feel bad for him, and then the shit kicks off. But no, he
the lizard part.
But yeah, he started. I know. He was because of his book and his view on the environment. He was regularly invited, and being one of the heads of the Green Party, he was regularly invited to high-profile events to talk about the environment and stuff. Yeah, discuss animal rights, do televised debates, all this kind of stuff. And in 1990, his name appeared on advertisements for a children's charity, along with Audrey Hepburn, Woody Allen, and other celebrities. So he was fairly popular, which shows how much he nuked himself out of popularity with his statements later on. So, 1989. He's written about this and said that at the time, despite everything seemed to be going fairly well for him, because it was just before he got kicked out of the BBC, he, being member of the Green Party, being leader of the Green Party and everything, he said it was a time of considerable personal despair for him, which, to be honest, I think it's just his life. But he said he began to feel a presence around him, and this presence would guide him to certain things. He doesn't go much into this.
It's because he's high on medication.
It's probably because alternative medicine. He's just down in shrooms like a maniac.
He's been like licking the inside of a capybara's kneecaps, and it's made him high.
Get me a capybara to lick, no questions asked.
Feel a presence near me. It's the presence of a large iguana.
But he says in he often describes how he felt it while alone in a hotel room in March 1990, and then finally asked if there was anybody here, will you please contact me because you were driving me up the wall. Quote. A couple of days later, he was in a newsagent's shop in Ryde, R-I-D-E, and apparently, according to him, he felt a force pull his feet to the ground, which I guess he wasn't standing up. I don't know, because he floated like the alien.
Was it gravity? Was that the force that was pulling his feet?
Was he just floating along like a few more aliens kicked him?
He can't crouch.
Suddenly, gravity intensified.
Yeah, but he felt a force pull his feet to the ground, and then he heard a voice guide him towards some books. And the one that it guided him to was Mind to Mind by Betty Shine, a psychic healer in Brighton. This woman was responsible for a lot of shit.
Hey, David, it's me, Betty. Buy my book.
Just crawling at his trouser legs.
Buy my book. There's a presence in this room, isn't there?
Please, David, nobody's bought me book.
It's in a newsagent's in Ryde. It's not exactly its bestseller, is it?
I was told this was the best place to promote myself.
It's Brighton, not. Anyway, he did end up reading the book, and he wrote to her requesting a consultation about his arthritis because for some reason he thought she'd help him with that. I guess any question is like, can you help my arthritis? No. All right, let's go on to other topics.
Have you licked the knees of a capybara yet? Yes. Damn.
I like the idea of him just going, I need a capybara fast, no questions asked. It's like, I don't think that's possible.
I'm sorry, my lad. No matter what path you take with that quest, questions are going to be asked.
Yeah. Anyway, he visited Shine 4 times, and the third being on March 1990. Icke claims to have felt something like a spider's web on his face, and Shine told him
he walked through one on the way in.
Probably, or it's just he's high as fuck again. And Shine told him that she had a message from Wang Yi Li of the spirit world.
Wow.
Okay.
What did Wang
Okay.
want? She told him that Icke had been sent to heal the earth and will become famous, but face opposition. Of course, you dumbass. He has become famous, and he has faced opposition. That's easy to pick.
Yeah.
He's a member of the Green Party. Of course, you're going to tell him he healed the earth. Anyway, no. And the spirit world was going to pass ideas to him, which he would speak about to others.
When did we get to the lizards?
I know.
How did we get into it?
This is the crazy shit. He would write 5 books in 3 years. In 20 years, a new flying machine would allow us to go wherever he wanted to, and time would have no meaning.
Wait, what?
So
they
there is what?
You would get a private jet.
They predicted that
The time machine is what they predicted.
a new flying machine would allow us to go anywhere we wanted in 2010, and obviously that didn't fucking happen.
But he also said time's not an object, so they were basically predicting the time machine. When in reality, what they predicted was Steins Gate,
Yeah.
It's come full circle.
which came out in 2009 and was about a time machine. So.
No, that's bad. But they also said there'd be
appearing on screen. Illuminati confirmed. A reptile bursts out of John's bed.
Wang Yi also told them that there would be earthquakes in weird places of the world because taking oil out of the earth was destabilizing the planet. So
That one I have heard before.
yeah. Anyway, this started the fucking great. This started the nutso shit, and in February 1991, he visited a pre-Inca Silustani burial ground near Puno in Peru, where he felt drawn to a particular circle of waist-high stones. No, he saw a circle of waist-high stones. He stood in the circle. He had 2 thoughts: that people would be talking about this in 100 years, and that it would be over when it rained. His body shook. Yeah, it's a lot of fucking stones.
People will be talking about this pile of stones in 200 years.
And it will be over when it rains.
Yeah, his body shook as though plugged into an electrical socket. He wrote, and new ideas poured. He wrote this, and new ideas poured into him. Then it started raining, and the experience ended. And he went, "Oh."
Are you sure he wasn't talking about the beautiful fucking game, which is rain cancels football?
Oh God, it is! It's that! Rain on pitch, no play today, lads. That's his fucking psychic. God. But yeah, he described it as the Kundalini, which is a term from Hindu yoga, activating his chakras or energy centers, triggering a higher level of consciousness. Anyway, there followed what Icke has called since his turquoise period. And
What the fuck?
basically, he began to wear only turquoise, often a turquoise shell suit.
Oh,
a colour that
I'm
he
going to
thought-
find an image of that.
Oh my.
Go, just Google David Icke turquoise period. He saw it as a conduit for positive energy. Also started working on his 3rd book, and the first of his New Age period, The Truth Vibrations. Because obviously he got
Oh,
through
no.
from the vibration, so that thing could. Anyway,
Oh my god, I hate it.
put it in chat for the.
I will. I hate it. There are
yeah.
so many of him in one specific jacket.
He did say at this point that he'd been channeling for some time and had received a message through automatic writing, which is that thing where people pretend not pretend, say that they're channeling a spirit and the spirit controls the hand and the spirit writes things. That's what automatic writing
So
is.
the concept behind a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Well, I may be predicting something with this next picture.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of that.
What the fuck am I looking at, Matt?
Don't tell the listeners yet, but we will get to that. He also started saying that. He received a
The
message.
bottom right looks like a thumbnail that Tom would Photoshop.
I don't think Tom would dare, but no, he got the message of automatic writing that he was no ordinary human. He was the son of the Godhead, and that the Godhead was the infinite mind.
Show me what you got.
No, he said Godhead was the infinite mind, and there's not really much more info other than this. We just know that he's the son of the Godhead and here to help everyone, apparently.
Is the Godhead the upside-down triangle with the eye in the centre?
I don't know. I don't.
That's what it is in the Binding of Isaac.
Oh, well, maybe. But yes, anyway, in 1990, before he actually ended up to go in Peru, he met this person called Deborah Shaw, who was another English psychic, who lived in Canada at the time. Don't know how he found her, but anyway, he returned. He came back from Peru. They began a relationship. He is still married at this point. They began a relationship with the apparent blessing of Icke's wife, and then Shaw began live with them in March 1991. No, this is 1991 still. This is March 1991.
Gotcha.
And the press loved this because they just called it. They talked about all the headlines like, "Oh, it's the Turquoise Triangle," and it's like, "Fuck it."
Is it as dangerous as the Bermuda Triangle?
Yes. Shaw changed her name to Mary Shawson, while Icke's wife became Michaela, saying an aspect of Archangel Michael. So they've all gone off the fucking.
He was cult of personality.
Yeah. Yes. And he had a kid with Shaw. He'd already had a couple of kids with. He actually, I think he had a first child before. He had the first child with his wife. I think he had 2 kids with his wife, and the third one happened after this kid, which is awful. And he visited her once after they split on the request of his wife, and never talked to her, which is great because they had stopped seeing each other in December 1991, the later that same year. But anyway, this is the big thing where everyone knew he was fucking mental for definite. I don't like to impugn upon people's mental health and faculties, but I feel fairly safe in this.
Bonkers.
Especially, yes. In March 1991, Icke resigned from the Green Party during a party conference, telling them he was about to be at the centre of, quote, tremendous and increasing controversy. And he got a standing ovation from the delegates, saying, "I'm leaving." So I guess people were tired of his shit. A week later, after his father died, Icke and his wife, with their daughter and his girlfriend behind them, held a press conference that announced he was the son of the Godhead, and he told the reporters that the world was going to end in 1997. He would say it would be preceded with a hurricane around the Gulf of Mexico and New Orleans, eruptions in Cuba, disruptions in China, a hurricane in Derry, and an earthquake on the Isle of Arran.
The Isle of Arran?
Yes, I don't know why it's so specific. He said that this information. This is literally the bit after this. He said he was given all this info by voice and automatic writing. He said Los Angeles would become an island and New Zealand would disappear into the sea, and the cliffs of Kent would be underwater by Christmas.
So I've just looked into the Godhead meaning, and in Christianity it refers to the divinity of or substance of the Christian God, especially as existing in 3 persons: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, he basically did say he was essentially Jesus.
Again.
But different. He then went on Terry Wogan and started, because he got invited on, and started going fucking ham on the nonsense again, where the entire audience laughed at them, and Terry Wogan stopped the program and say, "You do realise they're laughing at you, not with you." And it was probably one of the worst interviews in the world. But the problem is, this probably snapped him, where he suddenly said, "I don't care what people think about me anymore."
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And then he started writing all these crazy, stupid books, which is all the origins of the planet. There's the truth vibrations, all this stuff, and then he starts talking about the this. He wrote this book called 1994 called The Robots' Rebellion.
Sounds like a decent sci-fi flick. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's literally think of all the paranoid cliches and nonsense of U.S. conspiracists to militia, and it's pretty much in it.
Think of
He says that
Terminator.
there's a plan for world domination by a shadowy cabal, perhaps extraterrestrial, and was laid out in the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is one of the most anti-Semitic things in the fucking universe.
That's the
So
same.
he's
That's the second cabal of the night.
That's a really weird thing about the Protocols design, because it was probably written by the direction of the Russian secret police in Paris in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
Fucking anyway, it was supposed by forgery, and basically everyone who knows anything says, okay, no, this isn't a plan by the Jewish people to take over the world. This is a plan to make Jewish people a scapegoat. Anyway, so it didn't. Yeah, that disappeared completely. Then, but he took the extraterrestrial angle and all this kind of stuff, combined it with the Emerald tablets, everything, and just started putting out books full of nonsense about the Brotherhood delete at the top of the pyramid of secret societies worldwide. And he says, "Oh, it's not about the Jewish people; it's about Zionists. It's very different and not anti-Semitic." Twat. Anyway.
Oh, is that why in this picture in the bottom right on this one that Matt's put in, the Star of David has the Z in it?
Well, there's that, but also in the second book, Truth 33, there was a chapter questioning the Holocaust, which he basically said he suggested the Jews funded the Holocaust, and yes, all that horrific shit. Anyway, all that fucking continuing happens, and
remember when this story was funny?
Then we get onto the fucking reptoid humans. Which is the fucking... I know. He's a fucking... I had to explain how much of a fucking nutcase he was first. Anyway, so yes, he's... They're at the center of his massive conspiracy theories. He basically... He started off... So he was the one who basically said, all right, there are lizard people completely infiltrating our society at every single level. They are reptoids from the planet, I think, Dracon? It's fucking awful.
Wow, original name.
Yeah, he says that they're playing in Anunnaki. Yeah, the constellation Draco. There we are.
Does he say where he got this from?
I think if you'd asked him, he'd probably say Godhead or the voice is automatically right. He just started writing.
In Brighton.
But he believes they're interdimensional race of reptilians, so they hop around dimensions. He says it the same as the Anunnaki, and that they're a genetically modified human reptilian hybrid race of shape-shifting reptilians. I said reptilians so many times, but they're known as the Babylonian Brotherhood, and they control everything. And he says also they may be known as the Illuminati sometimes, but he's not sure about that. Anyway, it's manipulate global events to keep humans in constant fear, because not only are they after our monoatomic gold, yes, he brought that back, not only are they after that, but they are here to destabilize the world because they feed on negative emotions and fear. And and he's
tell me he's come out with some interesting statements in the last year.
That was Alex Hammond about the psychic vampires that feed on negative energy.
He does say, although the basic form is like a scaly humanoid with reptilian rather than humanoid eyes, to clarify.
Yeah.
And he says that the reptilian human breeding programs took place 200,000 to 300,000 years ago, and the third and latest one was 7,000 years ago. And that the hybrids of the third program, which are more lizard man than human, currently control the world.
Wait. Can we just try and do some... So the first one was how long ago?
200,000 to 300,000 years ago. He's not precise.
Let's go on 200,000.
Yeah.
The third one was 7,000 years ago. What is the time span between each one then?
He doesn't fucking explain.
Fair bit.
But 7,000 is so odd. That's not an easy number.
200,000 and 7,000 was it?
Yeah. He's and he talks about the fucking. He writes in
every 96,500 years.
There you go. I'm not sure when he says the second one was. I can't find a source on that because.
Well, it would have been in the year 96,000, John.
I will say it's hard to research him because a lot of things that have been written about him, the stuff he's put up has been taken down for bullshit for reasons like you're fucking lying and you're destabilizing that society. Anyway,
also hate crime.
Also, mainly hate crime too. And recently, his Facebook and YouTube channel has been gone because of lying shit about coronavirus, and Twitter blocked him 4 days ago.
Wow, it took them that long.
Yeah, because he's still doing anti-mask fucking nonsense and stuff. He's a bastard. Anyway, he's one of the people who pushing that 5G creates current rising people.
Yeah,
Yeah, he believes it's real, but there's 5G creates it. And you shouldn't wear a mask regardless. So anyway, but yes, he says the brother which controls the world today is the modern expression, the Babylonian brotherhood of reptile Aryan priests and royalty. And he says they came together in Sumer after the flood, but started in the Caucasus. Yeah.
Specifically Nordic priests.
He explains when he used the term Aryan, he means the white race. Yeah. So he says that not only did the reptiles come from another planet, but another dimension, which the lower level of the fourth dimension specifically, the one nearest the physical world. What you do is you take your right, you take a left, you go down to the fourth dimension. There they are.
I'm gonna say if it's fourth dimension, they at least experience time. So
no, that's the thing. He says that because they're in the fourth dimension, they in turn and they control our dimension. They in turn get controlled by the fifth dimension. So there's a whole thing going on. And most people have said the only reason he says this is so you can skip awkward questions about how the fuck the reptiles got it. Anyway. But the thing is, he believes that you can defeat the reptiles if you just give up hating people and love everyone, because then they'll starve.
Bold proclamation for a massive anti-Semite to tell everyone
It's
about hating people.
strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
he's gone
he says they
the
came
complete
from,
wrong way about getting that message that we should all agree with to this.
Yeah.
Just don't be a fucking cunt. That's all it boils down to.
Yeah, which is weirdly the thing he's saying, but not the things he's... Anyway, but... back to the monoatomic gold. He says that it's not only there for dimensional travel, it will increase the capacity of the nervous system 10,000-fold, and that if after they eat it, they can process vast amounts of information, speed up transdimensional travel, and shapeshift from reptilian to human.
They can use 10% of their brain as opposed to 3% of their brain.
So basically, if they lick a gold bar, they become superhumans.
But only a microatomic gold bomb.
Focused on licking.
A lot of the... I don't know, it's a licking kind of night, but a lot of people are also saying that he's basically only saying this shit about gold because he's making bad shit about the Jews again, which is... Yeah, it's probably an allegory for anti-Semite, and he said it's not an allegory, and that's his defense.
No, you.
So you ingest the gold, and you can travel to another dimension, also known as an alternate universe, or AU.
Oh my god!
What is the scientific
I would like to
abbreviation of gold?
preface this by saying that Fact versus Fiction does not condone the ingestion of gold and gold-based products in an attempt to travel to an alternate universe.
You want to go to a different dimension, but
Please do not do that.
If you ingest gold for other reasons, that's completely on you. We're not taking responsibility for that shit.
No. He claims that the reptilian bloodline includes every American president that's ever existed, 3 British prime ministers, and 2 Canadian ones.
Every American president, but not other world leaders, really.
I don't know. Several Sumerian kings and Egyptian pharaohs, and a couple of celebrities. He of course he blames the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all various European aristocratic families, including the royal family. The famous families of the Eastern United States. But he does claim all this shit. In fact, he claimed when he was waiting for a 1989 interview that he saw former British Prime Minister Ted Heath's eyes turn entirely jet black while they were waiting for the interview. And as part of his evidence, so he's just... I mean, Ted Heath does... I mean, he doesn't look like a reptile. He's probably a bit of an arsehole, but... And in 2016, he confirmed to Andrew Neil that he believes the British royal family are shape-shifting lizards.
Yes.
In 2001, quote, Icke said that Queen Mother was seriously reptilian. And he says the Rothschilds are not only reptilian, they're blood-drinking Satan worshippers. So there's that as well.
It's got past the...
Well, listen, who hasn't drunk a bit of blood and worshipped a bit of Satan every now and then?
Good Friday night. It's
got to pack your Thursday afternoons with something.
It's gone past the point now where it's just like it is still funny, but my brain, I've got.
It's too much, I know. He said about the fucking Babylonian Brotherhood that above them stand the global elite. On top of the global elite are what Icke is referred to as the prison wardens, and that they, He's adding layers. He keeps doing this. He claims that the Brotherhood's goal is a massive Orwellian state where everyone's microchipped. There's a world government and a post-truth era where freedom of speech has ended. So he's doing all that shit again. And that obviously that
getting a headache right now.
Yeah. I'll be over in a second. But he basically says all the bad shit that happens is
Tom emo. He's fringing over one eye.
True, I've become emo again.
Yeah, so he says, I'll give a quick list of
so.
this, just because this is funny. Is claimed that the Brotherhood either creates or controls the United Nations, International Monetary Fund, the Round Table, Council on Foreign Relations, Chatham House, the Club of Rome, Royal Institute of International Affairs, Trilateral Commission, and Bilderberg Group, as well as the media, military, all fucking...
I'm not gonna lie, I thought you said the Bilderberg Group.
No, the Bilderberg Group, I know. And he says they also have...
It's Bilderberg, though, isn't it? I swear to God.
And he says they also have witting or unwitting support from the London School of Economics. Don't know why I picked that out, but it just...
the Round Table.
Yeah, he...
Who gives a shit? The Bilderberg are in on it.
He also fully believes that, as I said, he's a Holocaust denier. He also fully believes that 9/11 is an inside job. And all this fucking bullshit. And the horrible thing is he basically is saying, you sometimes get quotes from him, which literally are like, you actually agree with, because they actually are genuinely what a decent human being would say, but he's obviously not. So, he says, divine rules the bottom line of all dictatorships, Arabs turn against you, black against white, right against left. A plug-in for the Matrix means refusing to recognise these illusory fault lines. We are all one. I refuse to see a Jew as different from an Arab and vice versa, blah, blah, blah. They're both expressions of the one and need to be observed and treated the same, none more or less important than the other. I refuse to believe... Yeah, there's a bit of like, yeah, you probably should. But I refuse to see black people in terms that I would not see white, or see the left as I would not see the right. How could it be any different except when we believe the illusion of division is real? If we do that, the Matrix has us.
Did we walk in on a poetry evening?
I don't know. But it says, if we want a world of love and peace, we have to be loving and peaceful with everyone, even people we don't like.
Don't make sense, you twat.
Yeah, he doesn't. So
he's a hypocrite.
Anyway, so, yeah, that's the son of
He's literally
Godhead.
a do as I say, not as I do kind of guy.
Yeah, that's son of Godhead, David Icke, who keeps on writing books year after fucking year. And when asked in a poll, in America, 4% of Americans believe in reptilian humanoids. And that's entirely from this man.
That is...
He has spread this...
That is 4% too much. I'm going to go and get my monoatomic gold, give it a lick and get rid of it.
He did say the regular reptilians, the ones that aren't half-breeds, apparently tall, winged, 9 foot tall with wings. But all this shit basically carries on. And he continues with fucking conspiracy theories. I think he did a video on Flat Earth, but it's been deleted, so I'm not sure how he feels about it. But David Icke is a complete cunt, and I hate him. And that is the end of the Listen Men reptilian fucking paradox, which not paradox, conspiracy that he basically single-handedly created in modern day. This former footballer. I don't know how it got to this.
Tom, please tell me you have...
Well, I have something, I guess, lighthearted by comparison. I would say it's more... I wouldn't say it's jovial, but it's not dour.
Would you like to take us into your world of fantastical words?
So, I would love to. So, let's talk about someone who, to the best of my knowledge, is just a fairly nice person all round. Taron Egerton.
Oh, is he
do you guys know who I mean?
He's the guy who plays Eggsy.
Yeah.
Yes. He rose to prominence playing Eggsy in the Kingsman franchise. He also played Eddie the Eagle in the biopic about that Olympic skier. He also played Elton John in the recent Rocket Man biopic. And he is one of my personal favourite young actors to emerge over the last few years.
From the womb.
No, Matt. He's been around a bit longer than that.
Is what I meant.
I mean, he did at some point, presumably.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's in his mid-20s.
Unless he's a lizard man.
I wonder if David Icke thinks he's a lizard man, probably. I've also one thing about that. There is a fun little quiz online to check if you are a lizard man. I failed, apparently. Yep.
Lizard man.
Naomi Watts is a British actress and film producer known for her performances as Rachel Keller in the Ring remakes, as well as Anne Darrow in Peter Jackson's King Kong. And more recently, she played Evelyn Johnson-Eaton in the Divergent trilogy, a franchise I haven't seen, but it seemed like a prominent role, so I just thought I'd mention it.
I feel I went on a journey. Films.
And, obviously, she's acted and been involved in more projects. These are just notable examples. Siobhan Owen is a soprano and harpist who today lives in Adelaide, Australia. Her musical style tends towards classical and Celtic folk songs, but she also sings pop and jazz on occasion. Now, you boys and our listeners might be asking, why does it seem as though I just started and stopped 3 completely separate topics?
Yes.
Well,
are they the same person?
The 3 people I've just mentioned all have something in common.
They're lizard
What do you
men.
think it is? No.
Have they seen the nurse at the swamp?
They feast on monotonic gold.
Oh. They are... Matt, do you want to have a guess?
No.
They are all either from, or at least have spent a significant amount of time in, the same place. A town. Or village, depending on...
Describe it as one small town.
It is a small town. It's not the one small town.
But it is a one small town.
It is a town which is arguably more famous than any one of those people. This town is, of course,
Oh my
the
He's practiced that.
Welsh town on the island of Anglesey, famous for its remarkably long name.
Welsh name.
The name contains 58 characters and 19 syllables. I say characters because double L and CH in the Welsh language count as a single letter.
Because
Yes,
Welsh
they are
makes
diaphragm.
Welsh make up letters as they go along.
Well, someone has to.
Digraphs.
Welsh is the only language.
Yeah, because they make a single sound, so they're a single letter.
Yeah. Like double L in Spanish is Y.
Yeah.
What was that, Matt?
Oh, you lagged out a bit for me there. I was just saying Welsh is the only language where you can drown another person when you speak.
Oh.
You didn't say that.
Nevertheless, is still the longest place name in Europe and the second longest official one-word place name in the world. It is only beaten by a hill in North Island, New Zealand, which has a very long Maori name,
I love that
which I believe we mentioned a few episodes ago. I unfortunately did not learn how to say the full name for that one, but its abridged form, I believe, is pronounced Tamata.
Yeah.
Or Tamata.
Tomato.
I mentioned I mentioned the lake in America. That was quite similarly named.
Mm.
I know that, but it's a good one.
Yeah. Well, speaking of abridged forms, the residents of Llanfairpwllgog... Fuck.
Hey, look, you got 2 good runs
Do
in
not
it.
always refer to the town as Llanfairpwllgog.
Tom, do you need like some
It is.
kitchen roll to wipe up your desk when you're done?
I thought you said this was a short segment, Tom.
Yeah, the name of the town is probably the longest part. So locally, it is known as either Llanfairpwllgog, Llanfairpwll, or simply Llanfairpg or Llanfair.
Clanvar PG sounds like a game I would play.
Much of a play it.
So it was a very, very sexual exasperation noise I made. I apologise.
Oh. But of course the question still remains. Why is Llanfairpwllgog called Llanfairpwllgog in the first place?
I feel like I'm being flexed on.
How often you could fit this in?
Is this the test your sanity episode? We just try and break each other and see what happens.
So,
It says a lot that I've come to the table with the most normal fucking subject for once.
I think just because it didn't have any real relation to anime for most of it, but I think that was enough.
Literally, the only connection to anime I had this week was, oh yeah, I looked into this because of Steins Gate.
Why is...
do you guys know or have a guess for why it's called
Because
that?
somebody stubbed their toe and they couldn't discern if it was a shout or the Welsh language.
It was both.
Well-
And that's what he yelled. Sorry, were you trying to say that, Matt, or were you scatmanning?
Both. I was scatting in Welsh.
In the Welsh language, or rather translated from the Welsh language, it means St. Mary's Church in a hollow of white hazel near the rapid whirlpool of the Church of St. Cilio with a red cave.
I mean, you can't deny you know exactly where it is.
The directions in that.
Even knowing the translation, you may surely say, that's still too long of a name. There's got to be more reasoning behind it than just a literal translation. And you'd be right.
Yeah.
The town was originally known as Pwllgwyngyll. But in 1869, the new name was suggested by a local tailor. Said tailor wished to remain anonymous to, and I quote, let the secret die with him.
I've done bad. I need to.
Oh, bad boy.
So that's the when of the name change, but why? The renaming of Pwllgwyngyll to Llanfair Pwllgwyngyll Gogerochwyn Drabochlantisilio Gogogoch was a deliberate effort to give the town the longest railway station sign in the UK in order to increase publicity and tourism to the town.
I mean, at least they were honest.
It worked, didn't it?
That's
It's on
right.
account that
The real
everyone knows.
reason that this,
Isn't the reason this
this town has such a long name.
Isn't
it was
the
all a
reason this went
marketing ploy.
viral was because like the news reporter like said it on the while reading the weather out
yeah.
one time?
There is
'Cause
there is a great clip of Liam Dutton from Channel 4 News reading it out while presenting the weather, and you can see in his eye he is very excited to say it.
Because they finally put it up.
And he's very pleased that he got it right.
Oh,
Because everyone else in the
yes.
studio is just like,
as you say, the marketing ploy worked, with an average of 200,000 visitors to the town per year,
the average of two
and the railway
visitors.
sign, of course, being the most popular attraction there, which is one of the few. There's not that many places where the full name is on a sign. It's on, like, I think, on the town hall, and it's also on the sign at the railway station. But on most signage, it is one of the abridged versions of the name. And that was a very brief story behind the naming of Llanfair Pwllgwyngyll Gogerochwyn Drabochlantisilio Gogogoch.
Fucking need your camera to have a panoramic mode just to fit the whole thing in.
You do. Or you get hit by traffic while trying to take a photo of the sign.
It's not their fault. It extends into the road.
I'm at the point where my brain doesn't know how to comprehend the information.
It was the lizard man. They got Matt.
They got me. Oh, but this gold bar,
I've also just put
You need some
photo of the
monatomic
railway
gold.
sign in the Discord.
bar, John, it's so tasty. You should.
That should be speeding up your processes, not anything else. Maybe your brain teleported to the other dimension.
I'm gonna say this is what happens when you actually teleport. Your body gets left behind.
Oh, how shit would that be?
I'm on a wild mind trip, guys. It sounds like I'm high.
It does.
A
You-
wild
you
mind
sound
trip.
like you've ascended to the nightmare realm.
Fucking.
Hey,
Christ.
Michelangelo.
Anyway, if that's all of us, I guess you guys plug yourselves and vicariously us.
Well, first off, I guess we do have a Twitter, which presumably people will know about by this point. You can find us at F versus F official, the F's being capital F's, where we post stuff at times. Go gadget tops.
Genuinely in pain.
Matt is indeed sounds like he's suffering right now. Holy fuck!
So
If
tired.
we come back next week with a new host, we apologize. But Matt died.
I'm so tired.
Oh.
All right.
So I also have a Twitter, which is @randomjot, and I have a YouTube channel, which is Tom H. Jordan, where I post pretty much whatever I want. There's no real consistency in the content that I put up there. And if you're interested in reading amateur comics, I have a Facebook page, which is Random Jot Comics, where you can read 4 comics that I've done for free. I'm sort of on a comics hiatus at the moment, so there's not going to be many updates to that, but the ones that I have done are there and available.
Well, y'all can find me on Twitter at GaiusNix. That is Guias. I had to remember how to spell the damn thing. And Nyx is spelled NYX. You can also find me under that on both YouTube and on Twitch. However, on Twitch there is an underscore between the two, so yeah, I'm arguably more active on Twitch these days, which is the sucky thing. But hey-ho. You get if you want anime things, go to the YouTube. If you want gameplay, obviously go to Twitch. Because that's just the way of the world at this point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, John, end us with your lizard men existence.
Please end me, John. Please.
I think that's probably the third time in life you've begged me to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, I'm going to talk today about an album called The Masked Marauders. Anyone heard of this?
No.
I might
No.
have.
Nope.
It was made as a hoax by the editor of Rolling Stone magazine back in the late '60s, and the editor Grail Marcus, which I don't know, wrote a funny review of a fictional album insisting that Bob Dylan, Mick Jagger, and 3 of the Beatles had formed a supergroup and had made this album. And when readers started asking how they could buy the album, they initially panicked, Rolling Stone, but then they went, okay, it's fine. We'll just hire an unknown band to recreate some of the spoof tracks. The fake album sold over 100,000 copies because people just assumed it would have Bob Dylan, Mick Jagger, and 3 of the Beatles on it. And it was just some guys.
What year was this?
I think the late 1960s. Just Google the Masked... If anyone's interested, Google the Masked Marauders album.
I was just wondering if this was before or after John Lennon was shot. It was before.
Late 60s, so before, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Hmm.
That's it.
Well, that's the listening recommendation for this week, listeners.
It's probably crap.
Listen,
And report back.
also touch my capybara and die.